So let's go into the ethos of Blue Zones, like what the main pillars are, and then we can break down.
Yes. So we found 5 Blue Zones. I talked about Okinawa. The longest lived men in the world are from Sardinia, Italy. The longest lived women, Okinawa. There's an island in Greece called Ikaria where people live about 8 years longer with no discernible dementia, which makes it interesting. In Coya, Costa Rica, it's an area with the lowest rate of middle-age mortality, which means people have about a 2-fold better chance of reaching age 100. And then among Americans, not too far from here, Loma Linda, California, highest concentration of Seventh-day Adventists. And those adherent Christians out there, they live about 7 years longer than people in the next county over. So those are the 5 Blue Zones. Now, something called the Danish Twin Study established that only about 20% of how long we live is dictated by our genes. And what does that mean? It means if our parents died young, we're not necessarily doomed to die young. And by the same token, if parents lived to 90, it doesn't mean we're going to automatically live to 90. So the point is, it's something other than genes that explains longevity. And I thought, what better place to look for those things tend to find the places where people have achieved the outcomes we want, which is live a long time without diabetes, without cardiovascular disease, without obesity, without dementia. And so Blue Zones was really about finding those common denominators. And your question was about the ethos. I thought I'd forget about it, didn't you know? But coming back around to your question, Kelly, the best way to think about it is there's an operating system and there's a program. And the programs involve eating mostly a whole food, plant-based diet. People in Blue Zones, 90 to 95% of what they put in their mouth is whole plant-based food. They do eat meat only about 5 times a month. They don't exercise. We think the answer to physical activity is going to the gym or CrossFit or Pilates. That has been an unmitigated failure in the United States. We've been pushing exercise since the Eisenhower administration, yet the average American, there's only about 25% of Americans get 20 minutes of physical activity. The other 75% don't even get that. So it ain't working. Exercise ain't working. We hound people to get exercise. In Blue Zones, people move naturally. We all know that stress prematurely ages us, lowers our life expectancy, et cetera. People in Blue Zones suffer the same stresses we do. They worry about their kids. They worry about their finances. They worry about their health. But what they have that we've forgotten are sacred daily rituals that unwind that stress. The Okinawans have this beautiful practice of ancestor veneration where in their living room, they'll have 3 or 4 shelves, and on the shelves will be a picture of their favorite grandma and her comb and an urn with grandpa's ashes and these other things that remind them of their ancestors. And they'll take 15 minutes a day to remember where they came from. Remember that they're not just a point in time, but part of a continuum. And they'll take some time to relinquish their day to their ancestors who they believe are looking after them. The Adventists pray. They get up and pray, which is like a meditation. The Costa Ricans and the Icarians, very fastidious about a nap. Naps are very powerful ways to de-stress. They lower cortisol levels. They lower your chance of cardiovascular disease. And in Sardinia, they do happy hour. Which is, I've adopted that one with some zeal. But the point is that stress is part of the human condition. And we're not going to get rid of stress. Somebody's going to cut you off in traffic. Your partner's going to do some stupid shit that makes you angry all the time. But where we have power is dealing with that. And the best way I argue to deal with is have these daily rituals that we know unwind. And Blue Zones give us a really good program for that. People in Blue Zones have a sense of purpose. They belong to communities or groups of people where they find meaning. Okinawa, they have a word for it, ikigai, but they wake up in the morning like you do. You wake up in the morning and you have your daughter and she's central. You walk her to school, which I applaud you for. Then you want to stay physically fit. You go play tennis. You got this great podcast. Just think if you woke up in the morning and didn't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to turn on the Today Show or some gossip show. Just think about how your life would feel without that purpose. We don't think about purpose as a longevity supplement, but we know that people who can articulate their sense of purpose live about 8 years longer than people who are rudderless in life. It's a very strong ethos. And, we talk about purpose today quite a bit. But when I first wrote the first Blue Zone book in 2008, nobody used to talk about purpose. And I'd bring it up in interviews and people kind of roll their eyes. But now there are very good studies that follow people for decades and find that people who can articulate their purpose have lower rates of cardiovascular disease and lower rates of dementia.
I mean, it seems like in these communities, they're smaller, maybe more insulated. It's like their purpose isn't, because I know a lot of people listening to this podcast are like searching for their purpose and like, I found mine. And it's just adding value to the community in some way. It's not some big global purpose. It's like, right? So
that's right. The best way to think about purpose, I believe, is to get really clear on your values. And I actually have this sort of exercise I ask people to do, either with a computer screen or even just a journal. And you make 4 columns. And the first column is values. And you write down, I believe in animal rights, or I'm a Christian, or I'm a Republican, or I'm a liberal, or I care about women, whatever it is, write it down. Second column, what do I do well? I'm good at diffusing conflict. I'm good at the first idea. I'm good at caretaking, whatever it is. I'm good at fixing shit, whatever it is, you write that down. Then the third column is, what do you like to do? What gives you passion? And you might be good at writing, but you might kind of hate it, and maybe you love to bike. Whatever it is, you list it, get it in front of you, get 3 full columns. And then in that 4th column is where do they all come together and you can put it to work. So I'm guessing this podcast, you're a healer and you're a curious mind and you like to make the people around you feel better and have a richer life. This is a perfect convergence. And I'm not sure how you came to this idea, but this exercise for people who don't know what they're doing, this is a good one. It takes 15 minutes and it's not so hard to do.